I'm setting an example for my kids.
I got me a side hustle.
I have more control of my destiny.
I need multiple streams of income.
It's hard work, but I'm working for me.
A job is cool, but I need more.
It's all about being self-employed. You're tuned into the world of Self-Employed and Rising with Art Taylor, where we bring you the amazing stories of people who are challenging the odds and following their dreams of self-employment. Learn from their successes and be inspired. Hear creative ideas for your business and find tips to take your hustle to another level. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show, Self-Employed and Rising. And today is going to be a really fun show. You know, there are prototypes for lots of things, but if I had to pick a prototype for this show, it would be our guest today. Our guest today is Nicole Nixon, who has spent 26 years as a HR professional, human resources professional. And then she suddenly decides that she wants to get multiple streams of income. She wants to add to her income streams and not just do a job. And so she comes across this business opportunity, and it's in the travel industry, and she is just doing great with it. And we're going to talk to Nicole about what motivated her to do this, of course, how she has found success in it, how it has enriched her lives, and how she fits it in with work and family. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you for the opportunity to sit down and talk with you. I appreciate it.
Well, I couldn't wait to get you on the show because, as I said, you're like a prototype for what this show is all about. But let me just start by asking you, how did you come across this? What was it that you woke up one morning and said, you know, I want to be a travel agent? Where did this all come from?
Well, so honestly, it was something that crossed my mind several years prior to me actually doing it, but I never took any action on it. But then my oldest son, he was getting ready to go away to college. I wanted to have another stream of income to help me with that bill. He did great and he got scholarships, but unfortunately it didn't cover it all. So, you know, I did need some help. And I was looking for something. And the first two things I tried just did not work. It was teaching English as a second language. That it wasn't for me. And then the other thing I tried was transcribing, and that didn't work out for me either. So then this thing of travel, you know, I kept seeing posts about it. So I finally decided, hey, let's inquire about it, see what the deal is. And when I inquired about it, I was like, well, I see no negatives here. You know, it's like I see a lot of positives here. Like, you know, I get to travel, you know, travel as a business owner versus a consumer. I get to, you know, I get to go, I get to see places, you know, sometimes others may benefit from it, others that I know. I'm making some money. You know, my job is going to be to test the temperature of the pool, the feel of the bed, how comfortable it is, to taste the food. Like all of this just sounds like a good deal. Like, you know, so why wouldn't I try it out? You know, and then, you know, the company pretty much made it no risk for me, you know, because if I didn't make or save the amount that I invested in the business within a year, I could ask for it back or the difference to be made whole. So to me, it was a no-brainer. Like, why not give it a try? But the great thing is, within 30 days, I made my money back for a whole year plus some, because I saved over $1,000 on a trip that I was already going on anyway. I had already planned it out. It was my son's graduation trip to Florida, and I'm like, hey, this really works. So that's how I got into it.
Well, you know, you
Yeah.
mentioned something that I don't want to overlook.
Okay.
And that is that you had two other businesses that you tried and decided that they weren't for you.
Yes.
And I know that there are probably lots of people out there who've tried something and they say, that didn't work out. So I guess I'm not supposed to be in business. But you didn't stop there. You continued on and you found something that worked for you. Let me ask you though, when you were doing those businesses, what was the challenge that you felt wasn't worth overcoming? How quickly did you know it was time to shift? And were you really discouraged in any way from moving on to something else?
I was not discouraged in any way from moving on to something else. If something is not for me, it's not for me. Transcribing, I think I lasted 2 weeks. The teaching English as a second language, I think I lasted a week. It just simply wasn't for me. It wasn't a good fit. I didn't have a good feel about it. And most importantly, I didn't enjoy doing it. I definitely needed something that I enjoyed doing. And so I didn't feel like it was a job because I already have a job, right? So I didn't want to feel like I was doing another job. So I needed something that I was going to enjoy doing. The part that I did not mention was I was also looking for something for me because my life as a single mom of two was consumed by my kids. Like my life just revolved around them. Whatever they were doing, wherever they needed to be, it was me. I was there. When I did it. So as a single mom, I felt like I got lost in that. I lost myself, so I'm trying to do better with the me time. And so I needed to do something for me. So I gifted myself this business on Mother's Day. In May, it'll be 3 years. But that was my gift to myself. I wanted to also do something for me, as well as bring in additional income.
Yeah. So I'm hearing find your passion if you can, because many people aren't able to find things that they're passionate about, although that's a whole nother story, right? That's a whole psychological thing there. But once you find your passion, then you're not working anymore. You're just doing what you love. And most of us will do what we love a lot better than things that we don't love. And
Absolutely.
self-care is such an important thing that you mentioned too. I want to hold that up because if it just feels that we're sacrificing all the time and we're not getting anything in return, even if it's money, because money isn't always the thing that drives us either after a point. There
Absolutely.
have to be other rewards. And what you sounds like you're getting out of this is not only the monetary reward, which is important, but you're also getting spiritual fulfillment to some extent and just enjoyment and a break from the routine of a job that you were doing as well.
Absolutely. That's definitely what it is. And it ended up being so much more than I ever imagined. My background really, although I'm in human resources, my strong point is learning and development under human resources. And although I've done, I've spent time in compensation and benefits and things like that, I have really spent a lot of years in learning and development. That's what I'm good at. That's where I'm gifted at. And so I did not realize when I started this business, there would be the opportunity for that skill to translate over into the travel business as well. So I'm definitely enjoying it.
Well, we're going to get into some of the other spin-offs from what you started here in the travel industry as well when we come back, because I think a lot of times we don't understand that if we start one thing, other opportunities come up as well. We're going to talk about that some when we come back from this break in a minute. And we're also going to just try to get into a little bit more of what you're doing in your business that really drives success for you and personal fulfillment. So let's take a break right now and we'll come back and we'll get into all of that and more with our guest, Nicole Nixon from Unique Travel.
Style takes too long. I can't fit anything. I have nothing in this closet. Oh, I'll just stay home. I need to purge my closet. Oh, but not that dress. Yo, Taylor here. If you ever thought to say one of these phrases, then this show is for you. Join me at the style table where we'll have candid and fun conversations about real women's style issues and wardrobe dilemmas. We will discuss solutions and ideas that will give you a big sigh of relief. You'll learn ways to save money, make money, and enrich the lives of others with the clothes in your closet. We're going to take the stress out of your style.
I'm setting an example for my kids.
I got me a side hustle.
I have more control of my destiny.
I need multiple streams of income.
It's hard work, but I'm working for me.
A job is cool, but I need more.
It's all about being self-employed. You're tuned into the world of Self-Employed and Rising with Art Taylor, where we bring you the amazing stories of people who are challenging the odds and following their dreams of self-employment. Learn from their successes and be inspired. Hear creative ideas for your business and find tips to take your hustle to another level. Welcome back to this edition of Self-Employed and Rising, and my guest today is Nicole Nixon of Unique Travel. And Nicole and I have been having a conversation about her motivations, what got her started in this business. Even though she works full-time in HR, she found the time and energy and enjoyment in starting a business and has been doing quite well. In fact, I'll say she's killing it. So we're going to talk this segment, Nicole, about some of the specific work you do in this business. Who are you working on behalf of, and how do you satisfy your customers?
So I'm working as an independent contractor for a host agency. So that allows me to be able to book the travel. But then I'm also building a team of agents as well that I mentor. And then the third thing is I'm also a program coach for Online Travel Boss. So let me go back a little bit. Booking the travel, that's what I thought I was going to be doing, just booking people's travel, right? That is not what happened. So one thing that I did not realize is that the person who I signed up with for this business could not really help me do what I thought I was going to be doing, which is book the travel. So that's something that I definitely want your viewers to be aware of. Ask a lot of questions up front because they were just really interested in the recruiting piece of it, and neither is required because I'm not a recruiter. That's not my nature. And she's very good at it also, but she couldn't help me when I wanted to book some travel. Right. So the go-getter that I am, I figured it out on my own. I was like, oh, well, this is going to work. Like, we're going to make this work. We're going to figure this out. And I did. But also, although I said I'm not a recruiter, people started seeing me and coming to me to say, hey, I want to do what you do, or tell me a little bit more about what you do. And so I started building a team that way because I started mentoring people. Or we have several agents groups. People would see me respond to questions that they had and think that I had a really intelligent answer, and they would reach out to me. So I'm even mentoring people who are not on my team. So I have a team of 31 now. I have 12 that's direct to me, and then they have sub agents as well. So I have a total team of 31 now, but I also mentor many agents that's not specifically on my team. Because I don't want anybody to be left out there. I don't want anybody to have the same experience that I did, where they were recruited for something and then there's no help for the work that they need to do or want to do, because everybody's not interested in doing the recruiting side of the business.
So what I'm hearing here, let me just interrupt briefly because
Sure.
I want to just recap what I'm hearing,
Mm-hmm.
because these are nuggets that I think people who want to be in business need to remember. First of all, I'm hearing you got to be able to learn. You got to be willing to learn, and willing to learn things that you didn't think you would have to learn, as you had to discover when you had to learn how to use the travel system, right?
Yes.
The second thing I'm hearing is that you want to be able to share what you've learned with others, because I think that always comes back. And it was, believe it or not, my son told me the best way to learn something is to try to teach it to somebody else.
Mm.
When you have to teach something, you got to really know what you're talking about.
Yes,
so you really dig down and you learn yourself.
That's true.
Which is why I guess he mentors so many people.
Mm-hmm.
But third, I'm hearing also, Nicole, that you have to be a person of integrity. You don't want to promise somebody something and not deliver. And so for you, it was really important that whoever you brought into the business with you were given what you said they would get and not
Absolutely.
just have this sort of bait and switch kind of feeling. Am I right? I guess
Absolutely.
I'm right about all those things.
You're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, to that point, because of that feeling, I actually invested in a coaching program, so that I could up my own skills so that I could help them. So, it was important to me to make sure that I was, because, they sold me the dream, like, oh, travel sells itself. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because, anybody, they could book travel themselves, or, how many travel agents do you see, or do you know of, or, some of them are still brick and mortars, they still exist. They're far few and in between, but they do exist. So, I mean, why should they come to you? What is it about you? How do you make yourself stand out? That's answers that my team was looking for me to tell them. Well, I can't do that if I don't know. So I invested in a travel business coach so that I could learn how to do it for myself. I wasn't even on social media. I'm a very private person, and I wasn't on social media because I like to keep my life private, but that's the way of the world now. So it took me having a business for me to get on social media, and my travel business coach, that's what she pushed. She pushed social media, so much so that she gave us this challenge. I think we did it for like 30 days, and I hated every moment of it, but it was a visibility challenge. And really what you had to do was get in front of your audience and go live. And she had a point system attached to what you did. But for me, it was about, what, I need this business to work. So it wasn't about the points. It wasn't about, although I did win.
Mhm. You did win.
But it wasn't about the prize at the end of the day. For me, it was about, this is my business and I want it to work. And not only do I want it to work for me, I need it to work for other people that I'm helping. I need them to get to where they want to be. So when people join my team, I ask them, what are your goals? And I work with them according to the goals that they set for themselves. Everybody doesn't have the same goals. Everybody's why is different. And everybody gets into this business for a different reason.
So what were your goals when you got into it?
My
And have they
goal
changed over time?
definitely changed. So when I first got into business, my goal was just to book some travel and bring in some extra money, and go traveling a little more than I usually do.
Mhm.
I was a person who only took a vacation once a year. Now I can't tell you how many times I've been on a plane since since I joined this
Wow.
business. People see me and be like, "You home?" Because they got used to me just being gone. And shout out to my mother and grandmother, because they are my support system. They allow me to go because they make sure that they take care of my younger son while I'm going. So just having the opportunity to go, like I didn't think I would have the opportunity to go as much as I do, but the offers are there. So yeah, I'm coming.
So
You invite me,
we're
yes, I'm
gonna take
coming.
a little bit of a break, and when we come back,
Okay.
I want to ask you about how you adapted during COVID, because I know that must have thrown a bit of a challenge into your business plans, having to deal with a pandemic. So let's take a break, and we'll come back. We'll get into that and some other things.
Okay, awesome. yesterday there was a Jewish wedding. So I didn't even get any clips of that, but let me see if my cousin got clips of that yesterday. But I'll tell you what's going on here. So of course, obviously you have the beach and you have the cabanas down there. But if you look right here, let's see if I can zoom in some. All right, it's not letting me. There's a big hot tub right there, which is pretty cool. And they have the jets going, and then they have the water that you normally would see, those kind of fountains in the spa. So they have them out here in the jacuzzi, which is pretty cool. You see the guys cleaning. Let me tell you, I saw them wiping down trash cans. I saw them wiping down windows. I saw them wiping down railings yesterday. I mean, they're just wiping down everything. And then if you look at this pool here, so they have, I don't know if you can see it. Where I was yesterday, I don't know if you can see it up there. But there's a infinity pool up there. And it's right here. But if you look, they are actually doing an exercise class. And they're on these rafts doing the exercise. God bless them, because I won't be on no raft. I don't know that's trying to do no exercise. But I think it's pretty cool. I mean, that's incredible balance. So I don't know if they're doing yoga or what, but it's pretty cool. I'll try to get a closer picture so that you can see. I just wanted to say good morning. Day today is filled with lots of training. I'm going to meet a lot of travel suppliers today, as well as some of the transportation companies that I've used in the past or that I can use in the future. So they'll be represented. So it's going to be some training. It'll be some presentations. It'll also be kind of like a trade show at some portion during the day. So a long day today of training. So I look forward to bringing you some more of the resort later on this evening. Right now I'm waiting on room service to bring my French toast, my eggs, and my bacon. So I'll make sure I post a picture of that. But this is absolutely gorgeous. Talk to y'all later.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the Tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news? Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news? Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
I'm setting an example for my kids.
I got me a side hustle.
I have more control of my destiny.
I need multiple streams of income.
It's hard work, but I'm working for me.
A job is cool, but I need more.
It's all about being self-employed. You're tuned into the world of Self-Employed and Rising with Art Taylor, where we bring you the amazing stories of people who are challenging the odds and following their dreams of self-employment. Learn from their successes and be inspired. Hear creative ideas for your business and find tips to take your hustle to another level. Welcome back to Self-Employed and Rising. I'm Art Taylor, the host, and with me today as my guest is Nicole Nixon, the owner of Unique Travel. And Nicole and I have been having a great conversation about everything from how she got into this business to some of the obstacles she had to overcome and everything she's learned in the process. Nicole, this segment, let's get into a little bit more about what you try to deliver for your customers when you organize a trip for them. I happen to have had the pleasure of joining you on a trip you organized for your mother's birthday. And we had a fantastic time in Ocho Rios. And I know that you are one of the most detail oriented persons that I've ever experienced. And it shows and it paid off because we all had a wonderful time.
Yes, we absolutely did. I still have people talking about that trip. I would say when someone contacts me, I just want to give them an experience that they'll remember for all of the right reasons. I ask them, questions like, where have you been that you've liked? Because I want to get a feel for what they're used to. Are they looking for something different? Are they looking for something out of the ordinary? What is it that they want? What experience are they looking for? And I want to deliver just that. I don't want them to just call me and they say, hey, give me a resort in, let's say, Jamaica, 5 days, and that's it. I need to have that conversation up front. So I actually do an intake call where I'm asking a lot of questions because I want to make sure that I'm giving them the experience that they actually want. If they're not party people, I don't want to put them at the party resort, and vice versa. I want to give them exactly the experience that they're looking for. And everybody's different. Everybody's ideal vacation is different. I remember when we were in Jamaica, you and y'all love sitting by the pool, and a lot of the rest of us, we were going on excursions, and some of those excursions I sent them off. I didn't even go. But some people, that's all they wanted to do. They excursion. So the ideal vacation is going to be different for everybody. So for me, I just want to give you the experience that you want, whatever that may be. And then the challenge for me is meeting that goal. And so that's where my research comes in. And that's why I go as often as I can, because it's nothing like experiencing a property for yourself. You can read all of the reviews in the world. And sometimes I do have to contact other agents if it's something, that the client may want that I'm not necessarily familiar with. So I might have to, call some other agents and, someone that's more experienced in that area, which is fine. That's still all part of research. But there is absolutely nothing like experiencing it firsthand, so that you can speak to that particular property.
So
When you're looking
we
to
have
choose.
like a video of a particular trip that I'd like to put up here because you're going to be leading this. Let's get that video up and we can talk as it rolls. So what are
Okay.
we looking at right here?
So this is a promo for my trip coming up in this July, to Margaritaville Island Reserve in Cap Cana. Cap Cana is a gated community, upscale community within Punta Cana, which people are more familiar with that location, Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. So this is to kind of get people excited about Margaritaville. Now, Margaritaville is actually not known for its all-inclusive. They're known for their restaurant chain, their vacation clubs, some hotels, casinos, but they've recently entered the all-inclusive space. So they opened their first all-inclusive, Margaritaville, last year in Riviera Maya in Mexico. It has seemed to do well. So they just opened this one in Cap Cana, Dominican Republic. They just opened this in November of last year. So this is brand new, brand spanking new. I have not visited the resort just yet. So I'm very excited about seeing it. So this is some of the footage from the actual resort. They have a lot of things going on. They have like jazz by the pool. They have a whole bunch of stuff. It's escaping my memory right now. But we are looking to have a good time in Cap Cana. I have been to the Dominican Republic twice. And I was actually in Punta Cana both times. So Cap Cana will be different. It's supposed to be on the one of the best beaches, which is Wainilo Beach in Punta Cana. So I can't wait. I'm very excited. We're also going to do a catamaran. That's going to be our main group excursions. There will be other excursions, but this will be the main group excursion. So it'll be on kind of a party boat. You see there's a water slide there. So you can slide off of it, and then you get in the water, and we're going to snorkel. There's a water scooter that you can do in the water as well while you're snorkeling. We're going to have food, chicken and shrimp and lobster, you name it, drinks and snacks. We're going to have lots of dancing, lots of partying, lots of fun. So really looking forward to this trip. I had a lot of interest because of the trip from last year of when I was doing my next trip. So I definitely am looking forward to this one. And I have a lot of people that's looking forward to it as well.
Well, maybe after the show, you're going to get a lot more calling you. So let's make sure we let them know how to reach out to you too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So my website, well, for the trip, it's capcanatakeover.com. That's the website. So I tried to make it easy. That's CAP, Kana, CANA, takeover.com. So for the trip, you can just go to capcanatakeover.com, or you can go to my website, uniquets.com. That's YOUNIQUETS.com. All the information is there, or if you need some other services, all of my information is there. Everything that I do is there. All of my contact information. My number is 484-229-7009. That's my business number. Or you can email me at info@uniquets.com.
Wonderful. So here's the thing. I mean, I know a lot of people are concerned about travel with COVID-19. How does all that work? How are we able to assure that people are, as best as possible, safe during these trips?
So I kind of used that to my advantage, especially when COVID first started, because a lot of people, they were not traveling. I took the opportunity to travel and show people the protocols that were in place because of COVID. It could have been something simple as you sanitize your feet before you walk into the resort. They were doing temperature checks before you went into the restaurant. They were giving you a wipe to sanitize your phone, while you were eating. They were doing extra wipes. They were sealing your room, so you know that once it was clean, no one had been in your room until you go and you break the seal. They did things like the what do you call it? Your refrigerator. They didn't necessarily stock it with a whole bunch of stuff because, things are usually left over from the people who were there before. So what they would do is bring you a fresh batch of everything and then come around and ask you what it is that you wanted. So those are just a few things, that they're doing. But if you think about it, these other countries, they thrive off of tourist dollars. Their whole economy is busted if the tourists are not coming. So they are making sure that they're doing everything that they can to keep the numbers down. Jamaica in particular, they have you testing before you even go. The United States has you testing when you come back, but you cannot get into Jamaica unless you have a negative test. So it doesn't matter if you had COVID 2 months ago. If you're still testing positive, you're not going to Jamaica. So they've put these, they've put these things in place, to try to keep the numbers down. And I think that it's worked. I will also say that usually masks are required, except when you are at like the pool area, or you're actively eating. So you can also social distance because the occupancy is not at maximum capacity.
Got it, yeah.
So I found
let's hold that. Let's hold that. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. We're going to finish that and close out the show with a few other questions that I have for you about lessons learned. You're listening. You're watching Self-Employed and Rising.
new MTV Caribbean channel. What's the name? What's the name?
Let's go.
And that's why tempo is so so important and sort of on point, because there's a tempo to everything that we do in the Caribbean. You know what I'm saying? It's a heartbeat.
We have our whole channel, man. The Caribbean is so diverse.
And for them to recognize that and to launch a channel for that, that is totally amazing.
I started to think about all of that, and I was like, wow. I said, well, wait a minute. These are all the things that make great television.
Watch on Tempo YouTube.
I'm setting an example for my kids.
I got me a side hustle.
I have more control of my destiny.
I need multiple streams of income.
It's hard work, but I'm working for me.
A job is cool, but I need more.
It's all about being self-employed. You're tuned into the world of Self-Employed and Rising with Art Taylor, where we bring you the amazing stories of people who are challenging the odds and following their dreams of self-employment. Learn from their successes and be inspired. Hear creative ideas for your business and find tips to take your hustle to another level. We're back for the final segment of our show today, Self-Employed and Rising. And my guest has been Nicole Nixon of Unique Travel. And we've been having a wonderful conversation today about so many things, Nicole, that I know our listeners and viewers will be able to benefit from. Now, before we took a break, you were telling us about some of the COVID issues and how hotels and resorts are managing them to make sure that people stay safe. So why don't you finish that? And then I have some other questions I want to ask you about things that you've learned as you got your business underway.
Okay. So the COVID protocols, I've found that you can totally still travel safely. The things you do at home, to keep yourself safe, you would just do while you are away. I personally feel safer in other countries than I do here in the U.S. because they're doing so much more in other countries. I do think that it's a personal decision whether or not you travel. Absolutely a personal decision. But if you choose to, you can absolutely do it safely.
Wonderful. So, in everything we do in life, there are things that we plan, and then there's reality. Things that we hope will go a certain way go a different way. Sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes maybe it's a bit more challenging. But in all of it, I think we learn. And so, what I'm really wanting to know, and really know for those who are out there thinking about starting a business or who may be at somewhat of a roadblock in their existing business, what are some of the key things, Nicole, that you've learned that you might want to share with others so that maybe they can bypass some of the struggles and challenges you had getting going? Although from listening to you, it doesn't sound like you had a whole lot of struggle.
I will say it's been going great. It really has. It is because even during COVID, because I was taking those trips and I was recording my trips and showing my audience, people were calling me like, yeah, like, that was pretty cool. And people have said to me, I would not have traveled if you hadn't shown me that. So people were actually calling me for trips after seeing me travel, which was pretty cool. What I would say is faith can't flow through fear. You got to pick one, So if you're going to take that chance, take a chance on yourself. The late Kobe Bryant, he says, he has a quote that says, "You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take." So I took that chance. I took that chance, and it's worked out for me. I was willing to bet on me, and it's worked out. Like who better to bet on but yourself. So, and I would just say, it doesn't mean that every day is the best day. Some days are just better than others. That's all. However, if you don't take the shot, you're never going to get what it is that you're looking for. I'll also say I have a newfound respect for marketing. I did not realize that was going to be a huge aspect of my business. But it absolutely is, because you need people to know that you're there. And you need people to know, how you're different from others, so that they come to you. So I did not calculate that, which is why I hired the travel business coach, and I needed, help with my team. But I was so successful after taking her program that she hired me to be a program coach with her and to train her team. So now I'm helping her train other agents, as well as I'm in charge of her international events. We're doing the first one in May of this year. So I've arranged for it's going to be 15 of us going down. And we will have 9 site inspections over 5 days. So we got a pretty hefty itinerary there. And we'll do some coaching as well while we're there. So I would definitely say calculate marketing. It's much more than I've ever imagined.
Got it. So you have 2 guys that are still the center of everything you do.
Absolutely.
How did they react when you told them that you're going to start this business? Now, your oldest son, he may have been less concerned because he was heading into college at the time, and he wasn't going to be around as much. But the younger guy might have had some interesting thoughts about it. But I'm just curious what they thought when you mentioned this to them.
Well, you were right about the older one. He was like, okay, sounds pretty good. Maybe I'll get a trip or 2 out of it. They've been on more than 2. The little one, though, I took him out of the country for the first time when he was 3. And ever since then, he just needs room service. He's looking for room service anytime we go to a hotel. And, you try to explain to him.
Me and him too.
Yeah. You try to explain to him, hey, it don't work like that in America because he's looking for room service in America. But he doesn't get, the all-inclusive thing, in the Caribbean. So then his thing was like, okay, well, when am I going on the trip? And so his thing is, listen, like you always leaving, but I try to explain to him I'm working. It's a business trip. And he's not feeling that. He's like, yeah, okay. When you got that pistachio ice cream at 11:30 at night from the snack bar downstairs, that was work. Yeah, it was work. It was work. You got to taste what I got. So he's adjusted well though. I definitely am conscious of how often I'm gone. Because my first job, of course, is to be a mom. But he's done well and he's benefited from it. So he's fine.
Well, that's the other thing, because I believe that for particularly the African American community, we've got to make business ownership and success generational before it really takes hold. There aren't enough Black people, frankly, who run and own businesses. And the only way that's going to change is for people like you who go out and start businesses maybe while you have a job, and letting your kids grow up and see how that's done, so that maybe they can grow up and have as part of their aspirations owning a business someday. I think that that's one of the key issues that African American communities especially, it's all communities, but African American communities especially have to pay attention to, the generational aspect of owning a business. Even if your business isn't the most successful, you're setting an example for your children, as I say in the promo to the show, so that they can grow up maybe thinking this is an option. When I grew up, it wasn't even an option for me that I would own a business. I had to come across that later on in life. But imagine if you have parents who are business owners or who are striving to be successful at business, sharing what they're experiencing with their young people. Those kids are going to grow up with a whole different approach, different thought about it. So I wanted to just hold that thought up. So Nicole, I have one last question. We've got a minute before the show's over. If you could change one thing about what you started here, what would that be, if anything?
I would have done it sooner. I'm having the time of my life. I really am. I'm loving it. My family is loving it. My friends are loving it. When I call them and say, "Hey, you can come on vacation with me," they're like, "Great." So they're benefiting from it. I'm saving. I'm making money. I wish I did it sooner, because really, not having the credentials that I have now. Really, I was giving a lot of money back to those big box brands. So now that I'm on the end and I know that, I feel like I could have saved so much money over the years.
Well, listen, to all of our listeners and viewers, I so appreciate you checking in and listening and watching our show. We're going to have another show for you next week. I hope you tune in then as well. And remember, this is the place where we come and love on business owners. So come back and be with us next week for a new show. I'm setting an example for my kids.
I got me a side hustle.
I have more control of my destiny.
I need multiple streams of income.
It's hard work, but I'm working for me.
A job is cool, but I need more.
It's all about being self-employed. You're tuned into the world of Self-Employed and Rising with Art Taylor, where we bring you the amazing stories of people who are challenging the odds and following their dreams of self-employment. Learn from their successes and be inspired. Hear creative ideas for your business and find tips to take your hustle to another level.
Time. It has a different meaning in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It goes backwards, forwards, it stops. St. Croix is rooted in history. So much of it still remains untouched.
I remember running on these streets as a kid. This trap was right down there. It opened the same year I was born. This is where the original Crucian hook was born. It's the symbol of these islands. And I wanted to have my hands in that very same history. I want to be able to pass it down to my family while still putting a new spin on it.
The U.S. Virgin Islands, we have an amazing culture that developed over time from all over the world.
St. John feels so untouched. Being underwater is like another world. There's no worries, there's no stress. I can just escape. This is my happy place. My passion for scuba diving came at just being fascinated with the water and wanting to be a mermaid. And this is the closest thing I can get to achieving mermaid status. Canadians just love being outdoorsy. We live for adventure, so we love anything hiking, being on the water, diving, snorkeling, and St. John has it all.
It's like some spirit is protecting the island and keeping them raw. The Makujumbi watches over the island. From up there, they keep the evil spirits away. The nightlife in St. Thomas is absolutely amazing. There's always something going on. Everyone comes together to dance and catch a vibe. We're always celebrating. We celebrate freedom, culture, the food, the smell, the music. It's always a celebration. The people here are probably the most priceless thing because they keep the culture going. There's so many different influences on these islands. Food from all kinds of countries coming together in new dishes. All of us came from somewhere, but all that we call this home. The VI is the new melting pot. This is where the past and the future comes together.